Morning, guys. I just woke up. I'm pretty tired. I got really good sleep. Today we're looking at Cuvee Coffee Colombia Roast. I haven't tried these yet. They don't have tasting notes written on the bag, but it's nutty cocoa and savory acidity, which was an interesting one. I've never heard coffee described like that, so I'm very excited to try these. The beans smell really good. I'm actually getting a little bit of the savory even just off the beans. Too much, too much. I want to taste this. I've got my cold brew. Like usual, we're going to do all of our different brewing methods, our mocha pot, our pour over, our French, this isn't a French press, our mocha pot. And today we are going to try an espresso. And I've already spilled water. Good thing you'll get to see me when I'm tired and a total mess. I'm normally perfect throughout my day. Just kidding. Now, one thing that's really interesting is on the bag of the Cuvee coffee, it shows the roast date. The reason that is interesting is because I bought these beans at Target. Now, one of the downsides to buying the beans at your grocery store is you don't get to know typically when those beans were roasted and bagged. Now, Cuvee put the roast date on all of their bags. These were roasted on February 26th. It's currently close to the end of April. Ideally, you typically want to try beans 2 to 3 weeks after they've been roasted. These are about a month past the ideal brewing time, which isn't surprising because they're going to got it at Target. But the whole goal of these videos is to prove that you can make really tasty coffee with any beans. I'm going to be proven wrong at some point. But unless you just have the worst beans imaginable, you should be able to make tasty coffee with pretty much anything. Remembering to use my scale this week. I'm sleepy, but I'm in it. 36 grams. One of the struggles of getting better at making coffee is over time. It seems like coffee that's really bitter or coffee that is really sour. There are several reasons your beans can be bitter. One of them being bad beans, unfortunately. There's, if the person roasting the beans didn't really care or know what they were doing, they might have just burned them. Grind size has an impact on that. Really coarse coffee can turn out sour. Coffee that's too fine can come out bitter. Or did I get that backwards? I need to wake up. That doesn't seem like a lot. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. I'm going to let that brew for 4 minutes since I actually have a timer to time it now. We're going to do our mocha pot, which means I need a fine grind. Going back to sour versus bitter, temperature of the water is another big factor. And I think that's probably the factor that I've been struggling with the most because I don't have a temperature controlled kettle. So I actually stopped the water on before it finished reaching boiling point because my French presses have been coming out just a little bit too mellow, a little bordering on bitter. I think it might be because I've been using water that's a little too hot. We're going to grind for a mocha pot next. Doing a fine grind takes so long. Oh, that made a nice little bubble. This may be one of my better French presses. I went for a very fine setting. That's hot water. I'm dumb. Why did I do that? The mocha pot essentially makes a semi-pressurized coffee. It's almost like a hybrid, which is part of the reason it makes such a really interesting pot of coffee. It is very rich, very flavorful, but it's not so intense like a shot of espresso. A lot of people, they wouldn't really ever go for just espresso by itself. Espresso by itself is extremely rich. It's not really for beginner coffee drinkers by any means. Got grounds all over my tablecloth again. Someday I will make one of these videos without making a mess. Ugh. I'm not spilling beans everywhere, so that's nice. Maybe if I just grind really fast, it won't be so bad. Oh, there's the mocha pot. That is such a rich brown color. Even the crema is making a dark brown. That is beautiful. It smells really good too. Cold brew, French press, mocha pot. Now the grinder has a recommended setting size for doing espresso grind. I think it's not fine enough. So I'm going to dial this back just a little bit and hope for the best. Maybe why my shots have not been coming out right. All right, so we are good here. We're going to start our timer as we do our first pour. Oh, that's giving us a very nice bloom. Lots of bubbles. The bubbles. You know, I gotta say, this is the smallest mess I've made so far doing this. Which means next week is going to be really bad. The other way to tell if your espresso shots are coming out right is how long is it taking the shot to pull. Your shots only take a couple seconds to pull. You're probably not using a good enough grind size. Your grind size needs to be more fine, or you're not packing it in right, and it's not getting the pressure it needs. Did I get that perfect? Oh, here's the mess, guys. I jinxed myself. Oh, heck yeah. So it's less about how much force you use when tamping it. It's more about how even the grounds are. That's been my biggest issue. So I might need to get some better tools for this. So we are going to hope this doesn't spray me with hot water like it has done every time I've ever tried to pull an espresso shot. Now it's coming out at a good pace, and it's sprayed less than it normally does. So this is probably one of the best shots I've done so far, but it's still not perfect. And espresso is very unforgiving, unfortunately. It looks very pretty. It got a very good crema. That one did come out mostly smooth. So I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be okay. That's really good. That's the best French press I've made ever. Nutty, cocoa, and savory acidity. I remembered. It's very rich. It's very vibrant. It's bright. My French presses have always turned out really mellow. I was using water too hot. Now I know. That is really interesting. Savory is an odd choice of word for a coffee. I don't know if I would call this savory, but normally when I think of a high acidity coffee, I think of like bright citrusy flavors. And this is definitely getting that nutty sensation to it. So it's not really citrusy, but it is very acidic. Wow, that is the best French press I have ever made. That is so tasty. Mocha pot, are you cooled off enough? I'm gonna find out. Wow, that is good. This one actually does get a bright, almost fruity. Nope, there's the cocoa and the nutty. What's interesting is it's almost giving me like a Granny Smith apple aftertaste to it. Almost bordering on sour, but it's really tasty. These beans are freaking fantastic. Espresso shots should have cooled down pretty quick. It's not very high volume. Yeah, that's just sour. Why are you sour? I really want to get better at that. It looks like it should be tasty, and it's just not. Espresso's not easy, guys. You have to do a lot of practice to really dial it in. There's no way this is cool enough, but I'm gonna risk it. No, it's not cool enough. It's also just flat and bitter. So I did something wrong there. That's not a good pour over. I'm going to try more of that in a minute once it's cooled down to see if I change my mind. But that is not a good pour over. What did I do? It's a good cold brew. That's okay. Didn't make the best cold brew, interestingly enough. The acidity is pretty mellow. I'm actually still getting the Granny Smith apple off the cold brew. So I think that might just be a flavor of these beans. I would suggest it if I were labeling the bag. No, that's not a great cold brew. It's not bad. It's just not very flavorful. Our French press won. Like, clearly. No, I shouldn't pour that. That's been sitting in there way too long. That's not going to taste right. Yeah. Yep, that's just not good. French press wins. You make delicious beans. I would buy them again. I'm going to stop by your shop sometime this week probably and try your own beans at your own shop. They've also got 9 other roasts available on their website, so check out their website. If you're in Austin, go check out their location. They've got one somewhere downtown. I don't remember. You guys have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.